All right, we'll start in person. So raise your hand if you have a question. We'll direct the mic. So,
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
It kind of seems like, stat-wise, that from that second quarter on, but just, how much did that 17-0 start just kind of hurt you guys and then affect you as the game went on? As you're trying to come back.
Yeah, like when you're playing against a good defensive team that's already difficult to score on, to be down 17 early, like it just makes the game so much harder. Like you need everything to go right from that standpoint. And it's just not how, the game of basketball goes. So, you just can't get off to that type of start against any team, to be honest. But again, especially against a team that is, makes it so difficult for you to score the way that Connecticut does.
Coach, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
Media. Where else would you say the game was lost tonight, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think, mentally, emotionally, even more so than physically. Like, I just think that, for our group, like when you look at, our roster and our players and who they are, where they're coming from, where they're going, it was almost like this was already set, like the way the game started, the way it flowed. We have a group that is finding out how hard it is to be good at this in this league and in professional sports. It doesn't happen by accident. You can't stumble into it. You can't hope for it. You have to like literally work for it, every single day. And so, you go out tonight against a team that's battle tested. They've been through some playoff wars together. They know what it feels like to come up short. Our group doesn't have that. And so before the game even started, like that, it just looked like to me, like Connecticut they were just more prepared to handle like the intensity and the performance anxiety that comes with playing in an important game. And we couldn't get out of our own way in a lot of ways. And, you have to tip your cap to them. And, we just have to learn from it and all strive to work to get better. I mean, individually and collectively, like, it's just a confirmation of how much work we have to do to get better. And regardless of who's in or out, we, especially players, right? As a former player, we complain about everything. We want to play more. We should be starting. Why am I not shooting more? Why don't we run more plays for me? Why do I not get to do this? And most of the time you end up getting put right in that position that you were complaining about. And then what do you do with it? And that's, so that I understand that process for players. And so, it's just a reminder that ultimately you have to work to get the job done. And that's all this is.
So you mentioned, like, before the game, you can kind of see something was kind of not right. Is that with your own players? Like, was there energy?
No, not necessarily before the game. When the question was more like, where else was the game lost? And like, once it started, I'm saying, to me, that's mental. That's like, there's something else. When you can't physically execute something that you know how to do already, that means there's something not allowing you to do it. And sometimes we just mentally get in our way when we're thinking about a lot of things, when we're stressed out, when we're worried about things. It's hard to just do the most basic stuff. And at the beginning of that game, we couldn't do the most basic things. We don't turn the ball over 20 times. I don't know if we've done that maybe once or twice this season. So to me, like, those are symptoms of like, there was something mentally about this game tonight that was stressful. Like, people were anxious and trying to figure out how, like, really trying hard. And sometimes when you try too hard, it doesn't work right.
Coach, for most of the season, Seattle has been just as good as Connecticut. So with that said, how do you prevent this from happening again? Feel the same way that you almost make it feel like the first few minutes before you get going.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, we have to quickly find a way to turn the page. I mean, once players, and we all kind of get a chance to look back at the game tonight, tomorrow. And then you have a couple of days to kind of, you throw this one out and you start getting ready for your next opponent. I think that, the good thing about, athletes that reach this level, they usually respond pretty good, to disappointments or when you kind of know that you didn't do your best, usually you come back and you're better. That may not mean that you win or you're perfect the next time you go out, but usually you don't necessarily repeat, the same exact performance, in a negative way. But, we have to figure out a way to start the game stronger for sure. Again, against teams at the professional level, you can't play from behind the whole game. You just can't. And our margin for error is too small, to play from double digits behind in the first 5-6 minutes of a game. That makes the game, more difficult than it needs to be for our group. No, I mean, I'm more so saying that like in general, you know what I mean? Like I don't, like players don't say that to me. So it's more of like I understand that's how, things happen during the course of the season. And especially when things aren't going well, right? Like everybody has the solution that a lot of times isn't necessarily, I have to be better, right? So that's kind of more so what I'm referencing is that, again, like when when you see thought bubbles, with athletes, then you can't function as well. And most of the time when great athletes or, people refer to being in the zone, like they weren't really thinking. They just kind of were instinctively responding and reacting because they were so present and focused in that moment. They didn't even know what was happening around them. And I just think that we still have a locker room with a majority of players that are still thinking about what I should be doing, what's happening. And that's understandable. I mean, Lauren Cox, young, developing, learning. Arella, young, developed, learning. Taya Cooper, Mia Coffey, who just bounced around the league, been on a few different teams. Like this is her first year. Like we need her to play well in order to win. She's learning how to do that. So some of that is understandable, but doesn't make it an excuse, right? So again, we just have to take full ownership and accountability for what's happening and do things to change it. And it doesn't all happen in one night. We won't all of a sudden be the best team in the league come Sunday, but we got to figure out a way to be better than we were tonight in order to have a chance to win. Yeah, I mean, some of it, like they play an aggressive style of game. They attack. They're a good offensive rebounding team, and sometimes like foul situations after an offensive board and somebody's trying to grab and reach and end up getting some of those whistles. We were kind of uncharacteristic at times in the first half with like defensively, players just driving to the basket. We're out of position. We would push or grab or or foul someone. So, it's a big disparity, but, we were talking on the way over, like to me, sometimes like, referees react to the way the game is being played and, they're human beings, right? So if a game starts in the first 5 or 6 minutes and it looks like one team is really here to play and the other team is not quite sure they want to play, then they end up going in that direction. And that's just kind of part of sports. So, that's why you have to be the team that hits first. You have to be the team that starts playing physical right from the beginning. and they know that you came here to mean business. And tonight we didn't do that. So it was like we kind of set ourselves up to have almost a 3-1, foul differential. And, we just have to, we got to figure out a way to be better, as well as, offensively for us, like being more aggressive, on our drives to the basket, so that we can get to the free throw line more often.
Two more, Steph, two more.
Coach, when you look at this team, I know you're still in playoff contention, but when you look at this team, what are you looking at? Height, speed, what do you see?
I mean, health, to be honest, I think, every team wishes they could find longer, more athletic, bigger player, whatever, the basketball characteristics or attributes. But to be honest, is, being healthy would be the number one place I would start. And from there, just, more time. I mean, you look at our group, Taya, Brittany Sykes, NECA. The only 3 players that are here from 2019, and so it's just, that Connecticut team, they've been through the playoff disappointments, they've been through the battles, they're tested, and they look to have a group that is solely focused on doing whatever it takes for the team to win. And that's hard to have when I'm still getting to know you. I'm still learning. Are you willing to make that same commitment that I am so that I can trust you in the game in these situations? And that's what new teams sometimes experience. So, that's more so what I'm looking at more than like, I wish she was taller or faster. I'm looking at who's really willing to continue working hard every day, who's still willing to come in early and stay late, who's still willing to sit down and, come into the coach's office and watch film and ask questions and like really be fully immersed in what we're trying to do. Because we're like, when this season ends, whenever it does, like this isn't the finish line. So like we're still going to be running this marathon every day, and it never ends. You win one championship, you damn sure want to win another one. You win 2, you want to win 3. So it never stops. And I'm looking for players and people that want to just keep effing running.
Last question.
Coach, you said when something is stressful, you can tell something is stressful about a game. Is there any idea of what that stressor was to you? What kind of your player?
Yeah, I just think the reality of like, we got to win this game in order to stay in the playoff hunt. And, again, if you've never been to the playoffs before, if you don't know what that feels like, you've never like, it's kind of like that, when 2 people are, maybe standing on the edge of a rock, at a lake or a river somewhere, and we're holding hands and we're supposed to jump on 3. But I've never done this with you before. We count to 3 and I jump and you stay. Like if we've never really been there before like that, like on the edge of that cliff looking over, I'm not sure if I want to jump because I don't know if you're going to jump. And to me, that's stressful in team sports. And sometimes you have to learn who's going to jump with you, right? Before you both are willing to jump. And until you get more people in your locker room willing to jump than the other team, you're gonna still have half your team standing up on the rock and the other half gonna be in the river, and you're not gonna win that way. So I just think that's stressful as you learn how to do that together. And when you're not your full self, you're not healthy, you're missing, like it just makes it all more difficult. And we just got to be willing to go through it and keep pushing and keep fighting, keep staying positive. Keep believing each other and just learn from the difficulties, because that's what they're there for, so that when the times are better, like you can appreciate it more. It's always good. You want to appreciate the bad.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, with Nightcast Media, obviously the 17 to nothing start, that's, the people are looking at it as the way where you lost this game, like, in your opinion, where else was this game lost tonight?
I think it's just, it's tough when, when you have slow starts like this, but, for me, it's just, it doesn't come down to one game. It doesn't come down to one play. It's the investment of time. It's the respect for the game and just being prepared in that way. And I think we still have a ways to go with that as a collective team.
Yeah, Coach Fisher was just talking about how once the game started, he thinks that that the mindset of a game in order to make the playoffs just kind of maybe about to continue. Just with another tough team coming in over the weekend in Seattle, just where's that mindset need to be? How do you move forward that again?
Yeah, I mean, Fish is right. You have to have that mindset of preparedness and focus. And we just have to tap into that as a collective, especially when things don't go well for us. It's all about composure. I've said that from the beginning. So maintaining that composure together, no matter what's happening, and understanding that as a team, we can control certain things. And there's certain unforced errors that we have, but then there's, we're playing great teams. They're gonna challenge us, and how we respond is really what's telling of us.
You guys get to winning games without Christy Oliver, and I'm just curious what you think it is for missing without her.
Definitely spreading the floor, of course. And Christy is the veteran, and so having her eyes and ears out there is very helpful. And for me, I personally think that, and actually, our team would probably agree with this. She's really been setting the tone for our perimeter defense in a lot of ways. She's just a smart player, and we just have to take her guidance wherever we can, whether she's on the court or not. And it's a big loss, but we still have to find a way.
Players bring a game, but that's not a good sign. That's just also a sign of the development of this team. As you as a veteran, as you on this team, like, is it frustrating, or do you realize that that's happening?
I think thought bubbles can be productive and counterproductive at times. When players are tapped in, like sometimes those thought bubbles are good. But I really do think that the overthinking can be eliminated with, what we do before the game, whether it's individually or as a team, just preparing and seizing the opportunity. And we just have to figure out how to do that together. Because that leads to us maintaining our composure in tough situations.
Any other questions?
What's it been like for you watching Janae kind of battle and trying to get into this lineup? And today she got to play a few minutes, but she came out a little bit early to take that ball. What's it like just as her sister, seeing her kind of go through this rough patch?
It's not easy, and I know it's not easy for her. I do my best to be there, not just a shoulder, but also, a form of guidance, maybe even a partner in like trying to make sure that we're both doing what we can to stay healthy. Obviously, our circumstances are different, but I think she just really puts herself out there when she feels like the team needs her. Especially when she feels good, and tonight was one of those nights. So I just want to be there for her as she really, really taps into how to get her body to where it feels great for her.
Thank you.
Thank you.